April 7th, 2026, a date that history may remember as the moment the world stood on the absolute brink. As the sun sets over the Persian Gulf, a digital clock is ticking toward 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This isn't just another diplomatic deadline. President Donald Trump has issued a chilling ultimatum to the leadership in Tehran. Open the Strait of Hormuz now, or witness what he calls the end of a civilization. For 39 days, the fires of war have raged, but the next 4 hours could change the face of the Middle East forever. The rhetoric coming out of the White House has moved beyond traditional military threats. On Truth Social, the president's words sent shockwaves through global capitals. "A whole civilization will die tonight," Trump wrote, "never to be brought back again." It is a phrase that has left diplomats and human rights groups in disbelief. He isn't just targeting missile silos or nuclear labs anymore. He is speaking about the complete decimation of a nation's ability to function as a modern society. It is the language of total war, and the deadline is fast approaching. The catalyst for this final warning is a 21-mile-wide stretch of water, the Strait of Hormuz. Since March 4th, Iran has effectively choked off this maritime artery through which 20% of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas flows. The impact has been a global economic heart attack. Brent crude has surged past $150 a barrel, and for the first time in decades, the global energy supply chain is broken. Trump's demand is simple: total and unconditional reopening of the strait or total destruction. The American and Israeli military plan is surgically brutal. At the top of the target list, every major bridge in the Islamic Republic. By targeting the nation's infrastructure, the coalition aims to paralyze the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's ability to move troops and supplies. President Trump has warned that by midnight, these vital links will be decimated. We've already seen a preview on April 2nd, when the massive Islamabad Bridge was taken out in a precision strike, a clear message that no structure is safe. But it doesn't stop at bridges. Trump has designated today as Power Plant Day. The threat is to strike every single electric generating unit in the country within a 4-hour window. This would plunge a nation of 93 million people into permanent darkness. Hospitals, water treatment facilities, and the internet, everything that sustains modern life, would vanish. Critics call it a war crime, but the White House remains defiant, arguing that the real crime is allowing a radical regime to hold the global economy hostage. Inside Iran, the mood is a mix of terror and defiance. The government has made a desperate plea to its citizens. Deputy Sports Minister Ali Raza Rahimi called on youth, athletes, and artists to form human chains around power plants. Visuals have emerged from cities like Ilam and Awaz, showing people holding hands, attempting to use their own bodies to deter American bombs. President Masoud Pezeshkian claims that 14 million Iranians have volunteered to sacrifice their lives, a massive mobilization in the face of imminent disaster. The escalation reached this tipping point following a harrowing rescue mission. On April 3rd, an F-15E, call sign Dude 44, was shot down by a shoulder-fired missile. What followed was one of the largest combat search and rescue operations in history. Over 150 aircraft, including bombers and A-10 Warthogs, swarmed into Iranian airspace to save the two-man crew. One airman evaded capture for 48 hours in treacherous mountains before being plucked to safety. This success gave the White House the confidence that they can strike deep inside Iran with impunity. The shockwaves are felt far beyond the battlefield. In the Gulf, food security has collapsed. GCC nations, which rely on the strait for 80% of their calories, are seeing food prices skyrocket by 120%. In Europe, the energy crisis is worse than the 1970s. With Qatari LNG shipments suspended, industries are shutting down from Germany to Italy. This is no longer a regional conflict. It is a global economic heart attack, and the world is desperate for the 8 p.m. deadline to bring a deal, not more destruction. Iran has been a key architect in this campaign, coordinating every strike with Washington. Israeli F-35s have already pounded Tehran's airports and at least 8 strategic bridges. Prime Minister Netanyahu has framed this as an extraordinary window of opportunity to neutralize the Iranian threat once and for all. As the deadline nears, the IDF has warned Iranian civilians to stay away from railways and infrastructure, signaling that their bombers are fueled and ready for the final order. Behind the scenes, the diplomacy is a clash of two worlds. The U.S. has offered a 15-point peace plan that demands the total dismantling of Iran's nuclear program and the transfer of all enriched uranium abroad. Iran has fired back with its own 10-point counterproposal. They are demanding a permanent end to the war and a unique Hormuz fee of $2 million for every ship that passes through the strait to fund the reconstruction of their destroyed infrastructure. Two plans, two ideologies, and almost no middle ground. In Washington, the president is fighting a two-front war. Democratic leaders like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer have condemned the threats as reckless and potentially illegal under international law. There are even whispers of invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office, with opponents fearing he is leading the country into World War III. But for Trump's base, this is the ultimate test of America First, a mission to secure energy independence and end a 47-year-old rivalry. Iran's regional allies are also making their moves. From the mountains of Yemen to the valleys of Lebanon, Hezbollah and the Houthis have launched coordinated missile strikes against Israel. The axis of resistance wants to send a clear message: if Iran is destroyed, the entire region will burn. This multi-front threat is stretching air defenses like the Iron Dome to their limits as Iran attempts to encircle its enemies with a ring of fire. The economic core of Iran, Karg Island, is already under heavy fire. U.S. strikes have targeted the massive oil export terminals, the lifeblood of the Iranian economy. If the 8 p.m. deadline passes without a deal, Trump has vowed to finish the job, obliterating every oil well and terminal. This would effectively erase Iran from the global energy market for decades. The smoke rising from Karg is a grim reminder of what happens when the diplomacy of the Stone Age takes over. But beyond the politics and the oil, there is the human and cultural cost. Iran is home to a 2,500-year-old civilization. From the ruins of Persepolis to the historic squares of Isfahan, the world fears that irreplaceable history could catch in the crossfire. When Trump speaks of killing a civilization, he is gambling with the heritage of all mankind. Ancient monuments that survived empires and invasions now face the threat of modern precision-guided munitions. The international community is pleading for a last-minute miracle. Pope Leo has called the threats truly unacceptable, and UN Secretary General Guterres has warned that targeting civilian infrastructure constitutes a grave war crime. From Paris to Beijing, global powers are urging restraint. But as the clock ticks down, it appears that the voices of peace are being drowned out by the roar of jet engines and the rhetoric of total victory. In the streets of Tehran, the mood is somber. The usual bustle of the capital has been replaced by an eerie quiet. People are huddled around televisions and smartphones, watching the same countdown as the rest of the world. Some hope that the military pressure will finally bring change, while others fear they will soon be living in the Stone Age that Trump promised. It is the final hour of a long, painful wait for a nation of 93 million. The Pentagon's plan for the 8 p.m. deadline is a 4-hour blitz, unlike anything seen in modern warfare. Phase 1, complete neutralization of air defenses. Phase 2, the total blackout of the power grid. Phase 3, the destruction of the transportation network. And Phase 4, the targeting of command and control centers. It is a 240-minute blueprint for the systematic dismantling of a modern state. This is what total demolition looks like on a computer screen in the White House. Iran's counterproposal of a $2 million Hormuz fee per ship is a bold gamble. They want to turn the world's most vital waterway into a toll road, using the proceeds to rebuild what the coalition has already destroyed. It is a plan born out of economic desperation, an attempt to use the world's energy needs to pay for their survival. But for Washington, this is a non-starter, a demand for extortion that Trump has vowed to end tonight. Yet, even now, an off-ramp remains. Trump has called some Iranian moves significant, and Pakistani mediators are working frantically to extend the deadline. Is this the ultimate masterclass in brinksmanship, or are we witnessing the actual prologue to a catastrophic regional war? The difference between a peace deal and a power plant day may come down to a single phone call in these final minutes. As the clock hits the final seconds, the world holds its breath. Will 8 p.m. mark the beginning of a new peace or the end of a civilization? The choices made in Washington and Iran tonight will echo for generations. Whatever happens, the Middle East will never be the same. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the 2026 Iran crisis. Stay tuned as we monitor the situation live. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest updates.